There are moments in life when a single person seems to occupy every corner of your mind. You wake up, and they are your first thought. You go to sleep, and their memory is the last thing you feel, no matter how hard you try to distract yourself there. Name their smile, their voice keeps returning. It can feel exhausting. It can feel confusing. It can feel like you have lost control over your own heart loving. Someone is natural. Missing someone is human, but being unable to let go can create a quiet storm inside you. You may replay conversations. You may imagine different endings. You may wonder what you could have done differently. The mind searches for answers, while the heart searches for comfort. This journey of learning how to let go is not about forgetting. It is not about pretending that what you felt was meaningless. It is about understanding your emotions with honesty. It is about healing without rushing. It is about choosing peace over constant longing. Sometimes the person you cannot stop thinking about was your greatest joy. Sometimes they were sometimes they were your lesson. Whatever they were, they left an impact. And that impact deserves to be understood. This guide is written for anyone who feels stuck in memories. For anyone who wants freedom from constant thoughts. For anyone who is ready to grow beyond heartbreak. Letting go does not mean you stop caring. It means you start caring for yourself more. As you read, you may recognize parts of your own story, may see your own patterns. You may feel emotions rise. That is part of the process. Healing begins with awareness. Freedom begins with acceptance. And peace begins with the decision to move forward. You are not alone in this. You are not weak for feeling deeply. And you are stronger than you think. This is the beginning of your journey toward release, toward self-rediscovery, toward a life where your thoughts no longer trap you, but empower you. Take a deep breath. You are about to step into a new chapter of your life, one where you learn that letting go is not losing. It is becoming whole again. Chapter 1. Understanding why you cannot let go. There is always a reason why one person continues to live in your thoughts long after they are gone. It is not accidental. It is not foolish. It is not weakness. When someone stays on your mind constantly, it usually means they touched a deep emotional space inside you. They may have arrived during a time when you needed comfort. They may have made you feel valued when you doubted yourself. They may have given you hope when life felt uncertain. The heart does not attach randomly. It attaches to meaning. Sometimes you are not holding on to the person. You are holding on to the feeling they gave you. Feeling of being chosen. The feeling of being understood. The feeling of being important. Your mind keeps replaying memories because it wants to relive that experience. It believes that if it thinks about them enough, it can bring back the emotion. Imagine a young man named Karan. Before he met her, he felt invisible. He worked hard, but rarely received appreciation. When she entered his life, she praised his efforts. She listened to his ideas. She made him feel special. The relationship ended. Karan told himself he missed her, but what he truly missed was the confidence he felt around her. He missed the version of himself that believed he was worthy. This is why letting go can feel impossible. You think you are losing a person, but deep down you feel like you are losing a part of yourself. There are also moments when attachment is tied to unfinished stories. If something ends suddenly, your mind searches for closure. It asks questions without answers. It tries to solve a puzzle that may never be completed. The brain dislikes uncertainty. It prefers clear endings. When there is no clear ending, it continues to think and rethink. Consider Anjali. Her relationship ended without explanation. There was no big argument, no final conversation, just silence. Because there was no clear goodbye, her mind kept creating possibilities. Maybe he will return. Maybe there was a misunderstanding. Maybe things are not truly over. Her thoughts were not about love alone. They were about confusion. When you cannot stop thinking about someone, ask yourself gently, what did they represent in my life? What feeling am I trying to hold on to? What question am I still trying to answer? Awareness is powerful. When you understand the root of your attachment, you begin to loosen its grip. Another reason letting go feels hard is because the brain becomes familiar with a person. You build routines around them. Morning messages, evening calls, shared plans, future dreams. When those routines disappear, your mind feels empty. And emptiness feels uncomfortable, so it fills the silence with memories. This does not mean you are destined to suffer. It means your brain is adjusting habits. Can be changed. Emotional patterns can be reshaped. But first you must recognize that what you are experiencing is natural. You are not weak for caring. You are not traumatic for feeling deeply. You are responding to loss in a human way. The first step in letting go is not forcing yourself to forget. It is understanding why you are holding on. When you look at your attachment with honesty, instead of judgment, something shifts inside you. You move from shame to awareness, from confusion to clarity, and clarity is the beginning of freedom. This chapter is not about pushing the person out of your mind. It is about shining light on the reasons they are still there. Once you understand those reasons, you realize something important. You are capable of giving yourself the same validation, the same comfort, the same sense of worth. The journey of letting go begins with understanding, and understanding begins with compassion for yourself. Chapter 2. Accepting the reality of what is acceptance is one of the most challenging steps in letting go, because it requires facing truth without illusions. It is not about giving up. It is not about saying everything is fine. It is about acknowledging what is real. Many times the mind resists reality. It creates hope where there is none. It imagines what could have been instead of seeing what actually is. It clings to memories as if reliving them will change the outcome. Consider the story of Rohan. He spent months waiting for messages that never came. He imagined scenarios where they would reconcile. He replayed every meeting and conversation, but the reality was simple. The other person had moved on and did not plan to return. When Rohan finally faced this truth, he felt a sharp pain. But that pain was honest. Honest pain can be transformative. False hope only prolongs suffering. Acceptance does not mean you approve of what happened. It does not mean you have to like it. It simply means you stop arguing with reality. The truth can be bitter. It can make you feel vulnerable, but resisting it keeps you trapped in endless cycles of longing. Think about Priya. Her relationship ended abruptly. She wanted closure. She wanted explanations. She wanted to believe that there was a chance. At first, she denied the reality. She pretended everything was temporary. She imagined a future that would never arrive. Over time, she realized that clinging to illusions made her feel smaller. She was losing herself in the story of what she wished had happened. The moment she stopped resisting, she felt a subtle sense of freedom. Acceptance frees your energy. When you stop fighting reality, you can begin to focus on healing. You no longer expend strength trying to change what is already done. Sometimes acceptance is simply seeing things as they are. You notice the person is gone. You notice the relationship. And did you notice that holding on is hurting you more than letting go? You may feel sadness. You may feel anger. You may feel regret. All of these emotions are part of acceptance. They do not mean failure. They mean you are human. Acceptance also opens the door to reflection. You start asking questions that matter. What did this experience teach me? What patterns do I notice about myself? What will I do differently in the future? It is important to remember that acceptance is not instantaneous. It is a process. You may accept certain truths one day and resist them the next, and that is normal. Patience with yourself is key. Imagine acceptance as releasing a rope you have been holding tightly. At first, your hands may tremble. You may feel fear. You may worry about what will happen next, but the moment you let go even slightly, you notice relief. Your body relaxes. Your mind becomes lighter. Your heart feels a little freer. Acceptance does not erase memories. It does not make you forget. It simply allows you to stop being trapped by them. The practice of accepting reality is not about giving up on love. It is about giving yourself the chance to heal. It is about choosing your well-being over longing. When you accept what is, you can begin to live fully in the present. You can stop living in the shadow of what was. You can start imagining what could be. Acceptance is not a destination. It is a continuous act of courage. Every time you face the truth, you strengthen yourself. Every time you let go of false hope, you reclaim a part of your freedom. The journey of letting go begins with acceptance. Without it, you remain tied to illusions. With it, you open the door to peace and growth. Chapter 3. Allowing yourself to grieve. Grief is a natural response to loss. It is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign that you cared deeply and that your heart was fully invested. When someone leaves your life, or when a connection ends abruptly, the mind and body both feel the absence, even if the relationship was brief or imperfect. The loss can feel profound. Suppressing grief only prolongs suffering. Ignoring the pain does not make it disappear. It hides in quiet corners of your mind, waiting for a moment to surface. Consider the story of Mira. After her breakup, she told everyone she was fine. She smiled at work. She laughed with friends. But when she was alone at night, she felt heavy. She missed the warmth of his presence. She missed the feeling of being truly seen. One evening, she decided to allow herself to grieve. She sat quietly. She let tears flow without shame. She wrote letters she would never send. She reflected on what she lost and what she learned. Over time, the rawness of grief softened. The tears came less often. Her heart felt lighter, not because she forced herself to forget, but because she honored the process of mourning. Grief is not only about sadness. It can be anger, frustration, confusion, longing. All emotions deserve recognition. All emotions deserve expression. Think about Arjun. He felt anger toward someone who ended things abruptly. He replayed conversations. He imagined what he should have said. He blamed himself and him in equal measure. By allowing himself to feel anger fully, he realized it was a natural part of loss. It was his mind processing the hurt. Grieving also helps you understand attachment when you cannot stop thinking about someone. It is often because you have not fully experienced the emotions tied to their absence. Grief allows you to release the energy stuck in your heart. It allows you to close chapters with honesty. Grief does not have a set timeline. It cannot be rushed. Some days you may feel progress. Other days the pain may return unexpectedly. This is part of the human experience. Healing is not linear. Allowing yourself to grieve means creating space for your emotions. It can be through crying, through journaling, through meditation, through speaking to a trusted friend or therapist. Each person finds their own path. Consider Nisha. She found comfort in painting. Every stroke on the canvas became an expression of her heartache. She did not have to talk about it. She did not have to analyze it. She simply let the pain move through her. Grief transforms your relationship with loss. It does not make the loss disappear. It makes it possible to live with it without being consumed. Another powerful aspect of grief is that it reconnects you with yourself. When you allow yourself to feel deeply, you discover your own resilience. You discover that your heart is capable of holding pain and still moving forward. In the process of grieving, you also begin to release the hold someone has on your mind. As you honor the emotions tied to their absence, you gradually stop trying to relive the past. You stop imagining different endings. You stop replaying memories as if reliving them will change reality. Grief is a bridge between attachment and freedom. It is the path through which your heart learns to let go. It is the first step toward reclaiming peace. It is proof that your love was real and that your healing is possible. Allow yourself to grieve fully. Give your heart permission to feel. Cry when you need to reflect when you are ready. And trust that with every step of grief, you are moving closer to release and inner calm. Chapter 4. Breaking the habit of obsessive thinking. One of the most challenging aspects of holding on to someone is the way your mind turns memories into habits. When thoughts of a person dominate your day, it becomes automatic. You wake up thinking of them. You remember small moments. You imagine conversations. You feel the urge to reach out even when you know it is not healthy. This is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign that your brain has formed neural pathways through repetition. The more you think about someone, the stronger the connection becomes. Your mind learns that these thoughts are important and deserving of attention to. Break this cycle, you must first observe it without judgment. Notice when your thoughts drift to them. Acknowledge it. Then gently redirect your focus. Consider Arjun. Every morning, he would wake up replaying messages from his ex. He would check his phone dozens of times, hoping for a response that never came. At first, he tried to force himself not to think. He resisted and fought against his mind. This only made the obsession stronger. Then he tried a different approach. He recognized the thought as it appeared. He said to himself, "This is just my mind trying to relive the past." He got up immediately, drank water, stepped outside to breathe fresh air. He engaged in a short exercise routine. At first, it felt unnatural. His mind resisted, but over time, a new habit formed. Instead of automatically sinking into old memories, he began to create space for new experiences. Breaking obsessive thinking is not about control. It is about gentle guidance. It is about teaching your mind new patterns. The first thought may still appear, but the second thought can become a conscious choice. You can replace replaying memories with activities that engage your mind and body. Learning a new skill, writing, painting, exercising, spending time with friends. These actions do not erase the past. They redirect energy toward growth. Another helpful approach is creating mental boundaries. When a memory or thought appears, acknowledge it, then visualize placing it in a box or letting it float down a river. You do not push it away with force. You simply release it from constant attention. Consider Mira. She found that whenever she began thinking of her ex, she would silently say to herself, "I acknowledge this memory, and I let it pass." Over time, she noticed the thoughts no longer had the same intensity. She was not trying to forget. She was learning to live without being controlled by them. Breaking obsessive thinking is also about self-compassion. You may find your mind wandering repeatedly. You may feel frustrated with yourself. This is normal. Do not judge. Do not punish yourself. Simply return to your new habits and practices. Small, consistent actions create change. Neural pathways are reshaped by repetition. If you repeatedly engage in obsessive thinking, it strengthens the habit. If you repeatedly engage in mindful redirection, you build a new pattern. It is also important to fill your day with meaningful engagement. Idle time often triggers obsessive thoughts. The busier your mind is with productive and fulfilling activities, the less space there is for unwanted rumination. Imagine your mind as a garden. Obsessive thoughts are weeds. They grow quickly if neglected. By observing them and planting new seeds of action and focus, you gradually transform the landscape. Over time, obsessive thinking loses its hold. You may still remember the person. You may still feel waves of longing, but the intensity diminishes. Your mind no longer drives you toward constant mental replay. Breaking the habit of obsessive thinking is a key step in letting go. It teaches you that your mind is not a prison. It is a tool, and by guiding it with patience and awareness, you regain freedom and clarity. This process requires consistency. It requires self-kindness, and it requires the belief that you can create new mental pathways. Every time you redirect your thoughts, you are reclaiming your power. Every time you allow the present to take priority, you are healing your heart. Chapter 5. Rediscovering yourself. You cannot stop thinking about someone. It is often because your sense of self became intertwined with theirs. Your routines included them. Your future plans involved them. Your identity was wrapped up in the relationship. And when it ended, you were left with empty space. That empty space can feel frightening. It can feel like a void that needs to be filled immediately. But instead of fearing it, see it as an opportunity. It is a chance to reconnect with who you are outside of that attachment. Consider the story of Nisha. During her relationship, she had stopped painting. Her hobbies and passions had taken a back seat. She realized that she had paused parts of herself to fit into someone else's life. When the relationship ended, she felt lost. But one evening she picked up her brushes again. The act of painting reminded her of her own creativity. It reminded her of her independence. It reminded her that joy can exist without someone else's presence. Rediscovering yourself begins with small steps. Start noticing what you love to do on your own. What activities made you happy before the relationship? What skills or dreams were set aside? Even simple things like walking in nature or reading a favorite book can reconnect you to yourself. Sometimes you may discover new interests. Maybe a skill you never thought to explore. Maybe a hobby that ignites your curiosity. New experiences allow your mind to shift. Focus from what was lost to what can be created. Another part of rediscovery is reclaiming your boundaries. When you were attached, your energy may have gone toward someone else's needs and emotions. Now is the time to pay attention to your own. Ask yourself what feels right, what nourishes you, what challenges you in a healthy way. Learning to honor your own boundaries strengthens your independence. Consider Arjun. He realized that during his attachment, he had neglected friendships. He began reaching out to old friends. He invested time in social connections that made him feel valued. The more he nurtured himself and his relationships, the less power the past attachment had over him. Rediscovering yourself also means reflecting on lessons learned. What did the relationship teach you about your desires and limits? What patterns do you notice? How can you grow from the experience? Instead of viewing the past with regret, focus on the wisdom gained. This process may bring up mixed emotions. You may feel sadness for what was lost. You may feel joy for what you are rediscovering. Both emotions can exist simultaneously, and both are part of healing. Investing in yourself shifts the center of your life back to you. It restores a sense of identity that is not dependent on another person. It reminds you that your happiness is not tied to anyone else's presence. Imagine each small action as a brick. You are rebuilding your foundation. Each hobby, each boundary, each moment of self-reflection strengthens the core of who you are. As you rediscover yourself, your thoughts about the other person naturally begin to lose intensity. You are not denying your feelings. You are creating a fuller life that cannot be dominated by longing. You are becoming whole on your own. The journey of rediscovering yourself is both gentle and powerful. It requires patience. It requires curiosity, and it requires the courage to step into your own light again by nurturing your own passions, by honoring your own needs, by embracing growth. You move from attachment to freedom, from loss to self-possession, and from endless thinking about someone else to a deep connection with yourself. Chapter 6. Forgiving without contact. Forgiveness is one of the most misunderstood aspects of letting go. Many believe it requires reconciliation or communication with the other person. It does not. Forgiveness is not about telling them they were right. It is not about excusing hurtful behavior. It is about freeing your own heart from the weight of resentment and regret. Holding on to anger or bitterness keeps you tied to the past. It keeps memories alive in a way that drains your energy. Forgiveness is the tool that allows you to release that hold. It is a gift you give yourself, not them. Consider Samir. He replayed arguments and imagined what he should have said. He carried anger toward someone who left abruptly. Every day he felt the heaviness of carrying unresolved emotions. He realized that as long as he held on to resentment, he was living in the past. He decided to forgive silently, without contacting them. He said to himself, "I release you and I release myself." The act did not change the past. It did change his present. Forgiveness can take many forms. It can be spoken aloud. It can be written in a journal. It can be visualized through meditation. It can simply be a quiet decision in your heart. Forgiveness does not erase memories or feelings. It does not make the hurt disappear instantly, but it transforms your relationship with the past. It turns a chain of pain into a bridge of understanding. Imagine holding a heavy stone in your hand. It represents anger, regret, and longing every day you carry it. Your arm grows tired. Forgiveness is placing the stone down. You may not forget ever existed, but you are no longer weighed down by it. Another important aspect of forgiveness is that it is for you, not them. You do not need their acknowledgement. You do not need closure from the other side. Your peace does not depend on their actions. Your freedom is entirely within your control. Think about Priya. She had felt wronged in her relationship. She wanted answers. She wanted apologies that never came. By choosing to forgive internally, she freed herself from the constant mental replay of grievances. She felt lighter and more in control of her emotions. Forgiveness also allows space for healing. When anger dominates your mind, it fuels obsessive thoughts. When you release resentment, your mind can focus on growth. Your heart can focus on self-care. Your energy can be used to build your life instead of reliving the past. It is natural for forgiveness to feel difficult at first. You may feel resistance. You may question whether you are being fair. This is part of the process. Forgiveness is a choice, not a feeling. You may need to choose it repeatedly. Each time you do, the emotional weight diminishes. Forgiving without contact also means letting go of imagined scenarios. Stop creating arguments in your mind. Stop imagining what you would say. Stop playing through scenes of confrontation or revenge. All of that keeps you attached. All of that prevents true release. By forgiving silently and sincerely, you reclaim your own power. You stop giving the past the ability to control your present. You stop living in the shadow of someone else's actions, and you begin to live fully in your own life. Forgiveness is not weakness. It is strength. It is clarity. It is a declaration that your well-being matters more than lingering resentment. The act of forgiving without contact is one of the most powerful steps in letting go. It allows your heart to heal quietly. It allows your mind to rest. It allows your spirit to move forward. Every time you choose forgiveness, you open the door to freedom. Every time you release resentment, you reclaim your life, and you remind yourself that peace is always possible. Even when love has ended. Chapter 7, Creating New Meaning. When someone dominates your thoughts, it often leaves a hollow space in your life. The routines, dreams, and emotions you once shared are now absent. The heart can feel lost, and the mind searches for ways to fill the emptiness. Creating new meaning is the way to reclaim that space and transform pain into purpose. Meaning is not about distraction. It is not about pretending the past did not matter. It is about actively shaping your present and future in ways that inspire growth and joy. Consider the story of Lena. After heartbreak, she joined a community group to volunteer. She listened to other people's stories. She helped others in small ways. Through giving her attention and care, she discovered a new sense of purpose. Her pain remained, but it became part of a larger picture. It became a teacher rather than a burden. Creating new meaning can take many forms. It can be learning a skill you always wanted to try. It can be dedicating time to physical health. It can be nurturing friendships. It can be exploring creative passions. The key is to engage in activities that expand your sense of self and bring fulfillment. When you shift your energy toward meaningful action, your mind naturally begins to let go. You are no longer waiting, replaying, or longing. You are building, you are growing. You are living. Another aspect of creating new meaning is reframing your experience. Instead of seeing the past as wasted time, view it as a teacher. Every relationship, every attachment, and every heartbreak provides insight. It teaches you what you value, what you need, and what boundaries you must honor. Ask yourself, what has this experience taught me? Perhaps it taught you your capacity for love. Perhaps it showed you patterns you want to change. Perhaps it revealed resilience you did not know you had. When you see the lessons in your experience, the past transforms from weight into wisdom. Consider Arshun. He reflected on a past relationship that had consumed his thoughts for months. He realized that he had learned about his own limits, his desires, and his ability to love deeply. This reflection gave him clarity and a sense of purpose. It helped him understand that his attachment was not a loss alone, but also a step toward self-discovery. Creating new meaning also reconnects you with hope. When your life is enriched with purpose, your heart begins to see possibility. You start imagining a future full of experiences, connections, and growth. You start to believe that love, joy, and fulfillment are not tied to one person alone. Every small action counts. Each time you invest in yourself, you are planting seeds of meaning. Every moment spent learning, creating, or giving adds richness to your life. Even simple routines like morning walks, journaling, or connecting with friends contribute to building a life worth living. Meaning does not erase memories. It does not remove feelings of loss. It simply allows those feelings to exist within a larger context, a context where you are growing, evolving, and moving forward. Creating new meaning transforms suffering into empowerment. It allows your heart to breathe. It allows your mind to rest. It allows your life to expand beyond attachment. When you actively engage in shaping your life, you reclaim your energy. You stop letting the past dominate your thoughts. You start shaping a future that excites and nourishes you ultimately. Creating new meaning is a declaration. It says that your life is valuable, your experiences matter, and even when love has ended, your journey continues with purpose, clarity, and hope. Chapter 8. Believing in future love. One of the most difficult reasons we cannot let go of someone is the fear that we will never love again. We believe that the person we lost was unique, irreplaceable, the only one who truly understood us. This fear keeps us trapped in memory, replaying past moments, imagining what could have been. It convinces us that happiness and connection exist only in the past, but life is wider than a single relationship. The heart has an extraordinary capacity to love more than once. Every experience, every attachment, and even every heartbreak prepares you for future growth. Believing in future love is about trusting that the world still holds meaningful connections for you. Consider the story of Dev. He thought after losing someone special that he would never connect with anyone in the same way. He held on to memories and replayed conversations endlessly. Years later, he met someone who understood him even more deeply. He realized that the past attachment had prepared him to recognize and nurture a healthier, more reciprocal love. Believing in future love does not mean you forget the past. It does not mean you erase what you felt. It means that you recognize your capacity to give and receive love again. It means keeping your heart open despite past pain. Fear of future loneliness often traps people in obsessive thinking. You may feel safer clinging to memories because uncertainty feels frightening. But living in fear of the unknown prevents your heart from experiencing the fullness of life. Trust is required. Trust that if you loved deeply once, you can love deeply again. Trust that heartbreak does not define your worth or limit your potential for connection. Another key element is patience. Future love does not appear immediately. It requires time for healing. It requires self-discovery. It requires learning from past experiences. Rushing into another attachment before you are ready often reproduces old patterns. Belief in future love requires cultivating a healthy, grounded hope rather than desperate longing. Consider Mira. After a painful breakup, she allowed herself to grieve fully. She rediscovered herself through her passions and friendships. Years later, she met someone whose presence complemented her life rather than completed it. The love she found was deeper and more balanced than her first attachment. Her past heartbreak had prepared her to recognize and embrace this new connection. Believing in future love also shifts your mindset from scarcity to abundance. The world is not limited to one connection, your capacity to experience intimacy, joy, and companionship is vast. When you trust this, the person you cannot stop thinking about begins to lose the power to dominate your thoughts. Practical steps to cultivate this belief include visualization and affirmation. Imagine yourself happy. In the future, visualize connections that bring you joy and fulfillment. Remind yourself daily that your heart is resilient. Affirm that love is not limited and that your capacity for deep connection remains intact. Believing in future love is not naive, it is courageous. It is an act of hope and faith in yourself and life. It allows your heart to heal without closing itself off. It allows your mind to release obsessive cycles tied to a single person. Ultimately, believing in future love is about trusting the journey. It is about understanding that your heart's past experiences are preparation, not limitation. It is about knowing that the person you once loved can be honored without letting their absence define your future. When you hold this belief, letting go becomes easier. You move from clinging to loss toward embracing possibility. You stop measuring every moment against the past, and you begin to welcome the promise of love, joy, and connection waiting for you ahead. Chapter 9. Practicing. Daily release. Letting go is not a single decision or a one-time event. It is a practice that requires daily attention. Every day your mind may wander back to memories, conversations, and imagined scenarios. Every day you may feel longing, sadness, or regret. Practicing daily release helps you gradually free yourself from the emotional grip of someone who is no longer present. Daily release begins with awareness. Notice when a thought of them arises. Do not push it away or judge yourself for thinking of them. Simply observe it, acknowledge its presence, then consciously redirect your attention to something grounding in the present. Consider the story of Arjun. Every morning he would wake thinking of his ex. At first he tried to suppress these thoughts. This only made them more persistent. Then he developed a small ritual. He would sit quietly, breathe deeply, and say to himself, "This is a memory, and it does not define my day." He would then engage in a focused activity, such as journaling or walking. Over time, his mind began to follow the new pattern. The obsessive thoughts still appeared occasionally, but their intensity diminished. Visualization is a powerful tool for daily release. Imagine each thought of them as a leaf floating down a river. You see it, you acknowledge it, you let it drift away without grabbing onto it. With each practice, the mind learns that it can think of them without being consumed by longing. Journaling is another effective method. Write down memories, feelings, and regrets. Do not censor yourself. Pour out your emotions on paper, then close the journal with a sense of completion. This act signals to your mind that reflection is honored, but does not need to dominate your day. Daily release also includes physical practices. Breathing exercises, meditation, or yoga help anchor your mind and body in the present. Exercise can release tension stored in your body from emotional stress. Movement allows energy to flow rather than stagnate in repetitive thought patterns. Consider Mira. She created a nightly ritual before bed. She reflected on the day, acknowledged lingering thoughts of her past attachment, and visualized them as clouds passing across the sky. Then she focused on gratitude for the present. This simple practice brought calm to her mind and heart. She noticed that over weeks, the intensity of obsessive thoughts decreased. Daily release requires consistency. Some days it will feel effortless. Other days the mind may resist. This is natural. Healing is not linear. Patience and self-compassion are essential. Small intentional actions reinforce freedom. Every time you redirect your focus, you are teaching your mind a new pattern. Every time you honor emotions without letting them control you, you reclaim power over your thoughts. Every day of practice accumulates into lasting change. Daily release also extends to communication and environment. Limit exposure to triggers that intensify longing. Avoid checking old messages, social media profiles, or places that fuel obsessive memories. Create physical and mental spaces that support your healing and growth. Ultimately, practicing daily release is about reclaiming control. It is about reminding yourself that while thoughts and memories will arise, you are not captive to them. It is about nurturing a habit of conscious presence, and it is about building a life where the past no longer dictates your emotional state. With time, daily release transforms obsessive longing into gentle remembrance. It allows the heart to remember without suffering. It allows the mind to recall without fixation. It allows your life to expand into freedom, peace, and self-directed joy. The practice of daily release is not a burden. It is a daily act of self-love, a declaration that your present and future matter more than the shadows of yesterday's chapter. 10. Choosing yourself at the heart of letting go is one simple yet profound decision. Choosing yourself. When you hold on to someone who is no longer present, you are placing their absence above your own well-being. Your peace, growth, and happiness become secondary to longing. Choosing yourself means reversing this hierarchy. It means deciding that your life, your heart, and your future matter most. Choosing yourself does not mean you stop caring. It does not erase love or memories. It does not deny the depth of what you felt. It simply means prioritizing your own emotional health over attachment to someone who cannot be in your life. Fully consider the story of Mira. For months she replayed memories, imagined conversations, and hoped for a return that would never happen. She realized her energy was being drained by longing. She made a conscious choice to focus on her own life. She nurtured her passions, reconnected with friends, and honored her own needs. This was not easy. It required courage and repeated commitment. But slowly she noticed her thoughts no longer dominated her every moment. Choosing yourself also involves setting boundaries emotionally, mentally, and physically. It may mean limiting contact with the person, unfollowing them on social media, or avoiding reminders that keep you attached. It may mean creating routines that center your life on your goals and self-care. Boundaries are not punishment for the other person. They are protection and love for yourself and other. Essential part of choosing yourself is investing in your growth. When your mind and heart are occupied with self-development, healing, and exploration, there is less space for obsessive longing. Learning a new skill, engaging in creative work, or strengthening relationships all reinforce your sense of self. Your identity shifts from being tied to someone else to being firmly rooted in yourself. Consider Arjun. He realized he had paused parts of his life to accommodate his past attachment. Once he chose himself, he returned to hobbies he had abandoned. He focused on his career goals. He invested time in friendships that uplifted him. By choosing himself, he discovered joy and fulfillment independent of anyone else. Choosing yourself also means being compassionate with your journey. You may have days when old thoughts resurface. You may feel waves of longing. This is natural. Choosing yourself does not require perfection. It requires persistence and kindness toward your own heart. Every small act of self-prioritization strengthens your foundation. Every decision to focus on your life rather than the past reinforces your freedom. Every choice to honor your emotions without being dominated by them builds resilience. Imagine your heart as a garden. For a long time, you allowed someone else's absence to plant weeds of longing, regret, and attachment. Choosing yourself is tending to your garden, planting seeds of growth, joy, and self-love, watering them daily, removing anything that drains your energy. Over time, your garden flourishes, and memories no longer control your mind. Choosing yourself is the ultimate declaration of empowerment. It is saying, I am worthy of my own care. I am responsible for my own happiness. I am capable of creating a life that is fulfilling regardless of who is or isn't in it. When you fully embrace this choice, letting go becomes natural. The person you could not stop thinking about is honored without controlling your present. Your energy returns to your own dreams, goals, and well-being, and you discover something extraordinary, the love you are searching for in someone else was always growing inside you. By choosing yourself, you awaken it. By choosing yourself, you become whole again, and freedom, peace, and joy are no longer distant hopes, but lived realities. Chapter 11. Embracing your new life after learning to let go. Forgiving, rediscovering yourself, and choosing yourself. A new chapter of life begins. This chapter is not defined by absence or longing. It is defined by presence, freedom, and possibility. Embracing your new life means stepping fully into your own journey without holding on to what no longer serves you. At first, this new life may feel unfamiliar. The routines, emotions, and relationships that once dominated your attention are no longer central. This space can feel empty, even scary, but emptiness is not void. It is a canvas, a space for growth, exploration, and self-expression. Consider the story of Nisha. After months of grief, reflection, and self-care, she began to notice her world expanding. She pursued creative passions she had abandoned. She nurtured friendships that brought joy and support. She spent time alone and discovered that solitude could be nourishing. Her thoughts of someone from the past became gentler, like echoes rather than commands. Her life was no longer defined by attachment, but by her own choices. Embracing your new life also means fully engaging with the present. Instead of reliving past moments or fearing future loss, you immerse yourself in experiences and connections that matter. Each day becomes an opportunity to learn, create, and enjoy even simple moments. A walk in nature, a conversation with a friend, a quiet morning coffee become meaningful. These moments anchor you in your own life rather than the memories of someone else. Another aspect of this new life is cultivating self-confidence and resilience. You have faced attachment, grief, and longing. You have chosen yourself repeatedly. You have practiced release and created new meaning. All of this strengthens your inner foundation. You realize that you are capable of navigating emotions, challenges, and change. Your heart grows stronger, wiser, and more compassionate. Consider Arjun again. He used to be consumed by obsessive thoughts. As he embraced his new life, he traveled to places he had never been, explored new hobbies, and met people who expanded his perspective. His memories of the past became part of his story, not the center of it. He discovered that he could love, feel deeply, and still remain whole. His life became his own again. Embracing your new life does not mean forgetting or denying your past. It means integrating it. The lessons, the joy, the heartbreak all become part of the wisdom you carry forward. Your memories become tools for growth rather than chains that bind you. Daily practices help maintain this. Embrace mindfulness, reflection, gratitude, and self-care. Reinforce your connection to your own life. You may still remember someone occasionally, but these memories no longer dictate your happiness. Instead, they exist gently alongside your present experiences. Another important element is building meaningful connections. Friendships, family bonds, and supportive communities nourish your heart. They remind you that love and connection are abundant. They help you realize that even if one chapter ends, many others remain to be written. Embracing your new life is also about dreaming again, setting goals, exploring passions, and imagining a future that excites you. Your past attachment may have limited your vision, but now you are free to create without constraints. Every choice, every action, every thought can align with your values and aspirations ultimately. Embracing your new life is an act of courage and celebration. It honors the journey you have traveled, the pain you have endured, and the growth you have achieved. It allows you to live fully in the present and move confidently toward the future. It transforms loss into empowerment, heartbreak into wisdom, and longing into self-directed joy when you embrace your new life. You realize the truth that letting go is not an ending. It is a beginning of freedom, authenticity, and the extraordinary possibility of living fully for yourself. Chapter 12, Finding Peace Within After Letting Go. Rediscovering yourself, forgiving, and embracing your new life. The final step is finding lasting peace within. Peace is not the absence of memories, longing, or emotion. It is the ability to live with what has been, what is, and what will be without being consumed by it. It is a quiet strength, a steady presence, and a deep trust in yourself. Many people spend years seeking peace outside themselves. They hope another person, another relationship, or external circumstances will make them whole. But true peace can only come from within. It is cultivated through awareness, acceptance, and self-compassion. Consider the story of Mira. After months of healing and self-discovery, she still occasionally thought of someone she could not stop thinking about. Instead of resisting these thoughts, she observed them gently, acknowledged her emotions, and let them pass. She practiced meditation, journaling, and gratitude. Over time, the intensity of longing lessened, replaced by a quiet sense of calm. She realized that peace was not about forgetting. It was about learning to live fully despite memories. Finding peace within begins with acceptance. Acceptance of what has happened, acceptance of your feelings, and acceptance of the natural flow of life. It does not mean approval or resignation. It means stopping the internal struggle, ceasing the fight against reality, and allowing yourself to breathe in the present moment. Another vital part of peace is self-compassion. Treat yourself as you would a dear friend. Acknowledge that heartbreak and attachment are human experiences. Do not judge your thoughts or feelings. Do not berate yourself for lingering memories. Instead, offer patience, kindness, and understanding to your own heart. Consider Arjuna. He realized that he had been harsh on himself for thinking about someone from the past. By practicing self-compassion, he allowed himself to feel emotions without shame. This created space for healing and reduced mental tension. He discovered that kindness toward himself was more powerful than forcing. Forgetfulness. Peace also grows through gratitude and focus on the present. Notice the small joys around you: sunlight on your skin, laughter with friends, the taste of your favorite food, the sound of your own voice. These simple experiences ground you and remind you that life continues beautifully even after loss. Creating boundaries reinforces inner peace, limiting exposure to triggers, whether social media profiles, certain places, or old messages. Helps your mind rest. When your environment supports your emotional health, your inner calm deepens. Another essential element is trust. Trust in your ability to navigate emotions. Trust that your heart is resilient. Trust that the future holds new experiences, connections, and moments of joy. Peace comes when you stop fearing the past and stop trying to control the future. Consider Nisha. She found through regular meditation, reflection, and creative expression, she could think of someone from the past without emotional turbulence. Memories became gentle whispers rather than storms. Her heart rested in a steady rhythm, fully engaged with her present and open to the future. Finding peace within does not mean you will never feel sadness, longing, or regret again. It means these emotions no longer control your life. It means your sense of well-being, joy, and freedom is rooted in yourself, not someone else. It means your mind and heart can coexist with memory without suffering. Ultimately, finding peace within is the culmination of letting go. It is the quiet victory of the heart, the mind, and the spirit. It is the realization that you are whole, capable, and free. It is the deep understanding that while love once came from someone else, lasting serenity comes from you. when you achieve this inner peace. Your thoughts about someone you once could not stop thinking about soften naturally. They no longer dominate your mind, your heart is calm, your life is full, and you are ready to continue your journey with clarity. Strength and joy peace within is not a destination. It is a way of living, a practice of presence, acceptance, and self-love. It is the most beautiful gift you can give yourself after Love and Loss Chapter 13, embracing joy and possibility. After letting go, forgiving, rediscovering yourself, and finding peace within. The next step is learning to embrace joy and the infinite possibilities that life still holds. Often when someone occupies our thoughts for too long, we forget that happiness can exist independently of them. We forget that life continues to offer experiences, growth, and connection beyond the past. Embracing joy is not about denying past pain. It is about welcoming life fully again. Consider the story of Lena after months of grief and self-reflection. She began to explore activities that brought her happiness. She traveled to new places, joined creative workshops, and nurtured friendships that lifted her spirit. She still remembered the person she had lost, but her focus had shifted to the richness of her own life. She discovered that joy could be found in simple moments: a morning sunrise, a laughter-filled conversation, the satisfaction of creating something new. These moments reminded her that her life was her own to shape and enjoy. Embracing joy begins with small actions. Notice what makes your heart feel light. Take deliberate steps to fill your days with activities that inspire, energize, and excite you. Rekindle passions you abandoned. Start new projects. Explore hobbies that bring curiosity and satisfaction. Every action, no matter how small, signals to your mind and heart that life is worth living fully. Another important aspect is cultivating optimism about the future. When someone dominates your thoughts, it is easy to believe that happiness is limited, or that love and joy are only possible in the past. But the heart is capable of deep connection again. The mind can experience wonder and excitement again. The soul can feel alive again. Trust in the abundance of experiences that life still offers. Consider Arjun. He had spent months consumed by memories. Once he allowed himself to explore new opportunities, meet new people, and engage in activities that inspired him, he realized that joy had been waiting all along. His past attachment no longer dictated his happiness. He found laughter, creativity, and connection in places he had never expected. His life became a series of possibilities rather than a reflection of absence. Embracing joy also means welcoming love again. In all its forms, love may come as friendship, family bonds, or romantic connection. It may arrive unexpectedly, or it may appear gradually. By opening yourself to possibility without clinging to the past, you create space for authentic experiences to enter your life. Daily practices support this. Embrace of joy and possibility. Gratitude journaling reminds you of the good already present. Mindfulness helps you savor each moment. Exploration and curiosity encourage you to seek new experiences. Acts of kindness and giving expand your sense of connection and purpose. Another key is releasing expectations. Life rarely unfolds exactly as imagined. By letting go of rigid hopes tied to the past, you remain open to unexpected blessings. You allow life to surprise. You allow joy to enter in ways you could not have predicted. Consider Mira. She had once believed that happiness depended on someone returning. Once she embraced her new life fully, she discovered joy in creativity, friendships, travel, and self-expression. The past no longer cast a shadow. Her heart felt lighter. Her mind felt freer. Her spirit felt expansive. Embracing joy and possibility is a choice. It is the conscious decision to move forward with curiosity, courage, and openness. It is the practice of seeing life as abundant rather than limited. It is the declaration that your happiness is your responsibility and your gift. When you cultivate this mindset, memories of someone you once could not stop thinking about soften. Naturally, they remain part of your story without defining it. Your energy returns to living. Fully your heart expands. Your life becomes rich with opportunity, delight, and growth. Joy and possibility are not distant dreams. They are available now. They exist in every moment you choose to engage fully with your own life. They exist in every decision to embrace freedom, self-love, and hope, and they are waiting for you to step into the life you are capable of creating. Conclusion. Letting go of someone you cannot stop thinking about is one of the most profound journeys you can take. It is not easy, and it is not quick. It requires courage, patience, and self-compassion. It asks you to face your emotions honestly, accept reality, and release attachment without resentment or blame. Throughout this journey, you learn that holding on is not a measure of love, but often a reflection of unprocessed emotions, unmet needs, or lingering hope. You discover that obsessive thoughts are patterns that can be reshaped, that grief is a necessary passage to freedom, and that forgiveness is a gift you give yourself. You find that rediscovering yourself, setting boundaries, and creating new meaning are essential steps to reclaiming your life. Choosing yourself emerges as a central theme. It is the act of placing your peace, growth, and happiness above longing. It is the daily practice of prioritizing your needs, cultivating self-love, and investing energy into your own life. It teaches that true freedom comes from within and is not dependent on another person's presence. As you move through the stages of letting go, you begin to embrace your new life. You reconnect with passions, nurture relationships, and build routines that support your well-being. You practice daily release, allowing memories and emotions to exist without controlling your mind. You cultivate trust in yourself and in life, believing that love, joy, and connection are abundant and possible again. Ultimately, letting go transforms you. It transforms pain into wisdom, longing into understanding, and heartbreak into resilience. You learn to find peace within yourself. You learn to embrace joy, curiosity, and possibility. You learn that the love you once sought in another was always within you, and you realize that your life is not defined by absence, but by the choices you make to live fully. The journey of letting go is not a single moment, but a continuous process. Each step, no matter how small, moves you closer to freedom. Each decision to honor yourself strengthens your heart. Each act of presence and self-care opens the door to a life rich with meaning, growth, and authentic happiness. In the end, letting go is not losing. It is reclaiming. It is becoming whole again. It is stepping into a life where your heart, mind, and spirit are free. And it is discovering that the most profound love you can experience is the one you cultivate for yourself. Kindly subscribe to my channel.